welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be talking about the books that I read during the month of January. January was it felt like a very long month for everyone, and I thought I was doing a great job with my reading. I thought I was flying through it. I thought I had read so many books, but it turns out I only read 4 books for the month of January. I honestly thought I had read more, but now that I think about it, there's a reason why I didn't read as much as I wanted to. So instead of me just rambling here, I'm just gonna show you guys the books I read. Somewhere at the beginning of the month, I finally picked up a book by Adam Silvera, and that is They Both Die at the End. I wanted to read an Adam Silvera book since years, but I hadn't picked them up. I don't know why. But when this book came out, the title was just enough for me to grab my attention. I bought the book when it came out on paperback. Didn't read it until this year. This book follows Mateo and Rufus on their last day alive. So the premise of this book is that you get a phone call that will let you know that it is your last day in this world. So they've created this kind of website where you can find your last friend or someone to hang out with during your last day, and that's how our main characters meet, and we just follow their last day together and how they come together and how they begin trusting each other during the last day and spending the last minutes of their lives together. We do know it's a romance book, but for me, what I enjoyed most of it was their friendship. They didn't have a lot of time together, but during that time, they managed to become really close, and I really enjoyed the friendship aspect of the book. I thought the romance was just too quick and we didn't get to see a lot of it, but then again, that's the whole point, that you fall in love with these characters and you want to see them become a thing, become a couple, or what would have happened if they were both stayed alive. For me, I was going into this book believing that it was going to be a really sad story and I was going to cry a lot, but I didn't cry a lot and I didn't cry at all. So maybe it was because I was anticipating it, or because I knew what was going to happen at the end because of the title that prevented me from feeling that way. I'm not sure, but after a few days of me finishing the story, I realized how sad it is, especially because we wanted to see them together and we don't get that. So that's one of the reasons that I didn't feel so connected to the characters, or maybe because I knew what was gonna happen at the end, I didn't want to feel connected to the characters. I'm not sure what it was, but I did give this book 2 stars out of 5. It was not the book for me. I did enjoy it at the moment, but it was not a 5 stars for me. The next book I read is Assassin's Blade by Sarah J. Maas. This took me like almost half of the month to read because I've been reading it with some friends, like I've mentioned so many times before. So this book, it's an addition to the Throne of Glass series. This book came out as like the 3rd book, novella, side book, sequel, I don't know what to call it. So this book follows Selena when she was working for Erwin in the Assassin's Keep during that time, before she was a slave at the mines. So we follow her last year working for Erwin and pretty much what led her to end up as a slave on the salt mines. We met Sam, who you love at the end, and it's very sad. I loved Sam since his character was introduced, and I hated how much Selena hated him, but then the tables turned and it was so amazing. I loved Sam every single bit. And yes, I was very sad at the end, because if you've read this book, you know what happens. If you haven't read it, don't worry. If you have read the first book, you know what happens to Sam. In this book, we just see how it happens and how Selena is betrayed at the end, and the people that she meets along the way. And I'm sure some of the characters that were introduced in this book might be mentioned and come out during the whole Throne of Glass series. So I'm excited to continue with these books. So like I've mentioned before, this year I'm really trying to read more books as ebook form or audiobooks because they help me a lot with my reading. And for January, I did read a lot of audiobooks. So the first book I read in January was The Poet X by Elizabeth Acevedo. I adore this book so much. If you guys haven't read it, please pick it up. This book is told in verse. We follow Xiomara, who is a poet, a writer, and she tells the story so beautiful throughout these verses. And I did listen to the audiobook at the same time as I read it with my physical copy, and it was an amazing experience. I don't have the physical copy because I had to give it back to my cousin who let me borrow her copy, so I had to give that one back. That's why I don't have the physical copy with me. Elizabeth herself, it's the narrator for the audiobook, and she did an incredible job. I related to Xiomara in so many ways, so many ways, and even if you don't relate to her, you can understand everything that she has to go through with her family, with her mom, with her friends, with her love life, in her community, her as a female with curves and growing up in this environment. It's such an amazing story. It's really short because of the way that it's written, but it has the power of 100 horses. And if you guys haven't read it, I really highly recommend it. The next book I read was Twice in a Blue Moon by Christina Lauren. I've been trying to get through Christina Lauren's books since last year. I really like them. I enjoy them. I think they are a good contemporary story. This book follows Taylor and Sam. So many Sams, guys. This month was full of Sams. So this follows Sam and Taylor before and now, when they were younger and they met, and then we follow them into the now, what happens. At the beginning of the book, we learn that her family and Taylor have a big secret that they can't talk about. They don't like to talk about it. They're pretty much in hiding. So it's very intriguing. You want to know, you want to learn what's going on. And Taylor and her grandma take a trip to London where they meet Sam and his grandpa, Luther. So we follow their journey throughout their trip, and then she might or she might not trust Sam, and everything just follows after that. It is a really interesting book. I don't want to say much. I don't want to tell you guys much about it because it has to do with her secret, and I think that's like one of the things that builds up the story. At the end of the day, it is a romantic story, and I liked it. I enjoyed it. I gave it 3 stars out of 5. I'm not complaining. I thought it was cute. I thought it was fun. It was entertaining. This book was a 3 out of 5 stars, so it's a good book. It's fun. It's enjoyable. So those were the 4 books that I fully read this month. I do have one more book that I started reading, but I had to DNF it because I realized that I wasn't enjoying the story as much, and that was keeping me from reading something else. Like, I was not finishing this book and I was not picking up another book, which was dragging me into a slump, or like I don't want to read that book, so I'm just not gonna read anything. So I had to put it down. I had to DNF it. I want to say I got like 21 chapters into the book and just had to put it down. And that book is The Flash. Whoa, you can't see that. You guys see this? So that book is The Flasher by Beth O'Leary. If I do this, you can't see the picture. So can you guys see that? The reason why I'm holding out my iPad instead of putting the picture in there is because I thought this would be a fun way to show my ebooks and my audiobooks, but I don't think this is working, so I might put a picture if I find how to do that. Anyways, The Flasher, it was very hyped, so I wanted to read it. I wanted to know what it was about, but I was not interested in the story. The characters were so uninteresting. Their lives were weird. There was only one aspect of the story that I wanted to learn more about, and that is what happened to I don't even know his name. Well, our main characters, our male main character has a brother who's in jail, and that was the story. That was the only thing that kept me intrigued about the book, because I wanted to know what happened or how he ended up in that situation. So, but it wasn't enough to keep me in the story. It wasn't enough for me to want to read more about the story. So I decided to DNF it. I've heard a lot of people liked it and enjoyed it, so that's why I picked it up. But then I've also heard of people who definitely don't like it and gave it a really low rating. So I just decided to DNF it, and that's the book that kept me from reading more last month, you can say. I think I went 2 weeks without reading anything pretty much, but trying to read that book, and I didn't finish it. So yeah, those are all the books I read during the month of January. If you guys like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and please subscribe if you would like to see more of these kind of videos. So that is all for today. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye.